Blockbuster was once worth over $8 billion, and today there is only one Blockbuster store left on Earth. How did a company that dominated Friday nights around the world completely disappear in less than a decade? Most people think they just didn't adapt to Netflix. But the real story is deeper, darker, and full of business lessons. Blockbuster began in 1985 in Dallas, Texas. Back then, renting movies meant visiting small local video stores with limited selection and poor organization. Blockbuster changed the game with bright blue and yellow stores, huge collections of movies, and a standardized layout that made every store familiar. Their promise was simple. The movie you want is in stock. Customers loved it. By the early 2000s, Blockbuster had more than 9,000 stores worldwide and billions in annual revenue. For many families, visiting Blockbuster became a weekend ritual. But behind the friendly image, the company relied heavily on something most customers hated: late fees. A massive portion of Blockbuster's profits came from charging customers when they returned movies late. At one point, late fees generated around $800 million per year. Short-term, it looked like free money. Long-term, it created resentment. Many customers paid more in late fees than the cost of the actual movie. People started to hate visiting Blockbuster because they feared being hit with a huge fee. While it helped Blockbuster's financials, it damaged their relationship with customers and blinded the company to future threats. And while Blockbuster relied on late fees to survive, a new kind of company was rising. One that promised no late fees, ever. In the year 2000, something happened that could have changed everything for Blockbuster. A small, fast-growing DVD by mail company called Netflix approached them with a proposal. At that time, Netflix was struggling. They were burning cash, losing money, and desperately needed a partner to survive. So the founders, Reed Hastings and Mark Randolph, flew to Dallas to meet with Blockbuster's leadership. Their offer was simple. For $50 million, Blockbuster could buy Netflix. The plan was that Netflix would run Blockbuster's online division, while Blockbuster continued operating the physical stores. It was a perfect match. Blockbuster had the brand, the money, and millions of loyal customers. Netflix had the technology and the vision for the future. But during the meeting, Blockbuster's executives laughed at the offer. They believed the idea of renting movies online was a joke and that the internet would never replace physical stores. So they rejected Netflix. That $50 million opportunity would later become one of the biggest missed chances in business history. Today, Netflix is worth more than $150 billion. But Blockbuster's problems did not end there. The company was stuck in its old way of thinking. They were trapped inside a business model built around late fees, physical rentals, and the belief that customers would always come into their stores. Meanwhile, Netflix was focusing on convenience, simplicity, and technology. When Blockbuster finally launched their own online service, it was already too late. Netflix had a massive head start and had already changed customer expectations. Between 2005 and 2010, Blockbuster found itself facing the perfect storm. Netflix was growing faster than ever. Redbox kiosks were appearing in supermarkets everywhere. DVDs were declining. The internet was exploding. And Blockbuster had more than $1 billion in debt. Stores were closing. Revenue was falling. Customers were leaving. The brand that once dominated Friday nights around the world was losing relevance. In 2010, Blockbuster officially filed for bankruptcy. The empire was collapsing. But the final chapter of Blockbuster's story had not yet been written. While Blockbuster was struggling to stay alive, Netflix was preparing to change entertainment forever. In 2007, Netflix introduced streaming. No DVDs, no returns, no waiting for the mail. Suddenly, movies and shows were available instantly. It wasn't perfect at first, but it was the beginning of a revolution. Blockbuster had the stores, the brand, and the customer base to dominate streaming. But their culture was slow, their debt was huge, and their attention was divided. They were trying to run a digital business while still relying on thousands of physical locations. They were a giant trying to move like a startup, but with too much weight holding them back. As technology accelerated, Blockbuster fell further behind. Customers were changing faster than the company could keep up. And by the time Blockbuster realized the future was digital, Netflix had already built the foundation of its empire. The financial crisis of 2008 delivered the final blow. Debt-heavy companies suffered the most, and Blockbuster was drowning in bills, leases, and operational costs. In contrast, Netflix was lean, focused, and built for the digital world. By 2010, Blockbuster's decline was complete. Stores shut down across the country. Employees were laid off. The once iconic brand faded from everyday life. Today, only one Blockbuster store remains, in Bend, Oregon. It stands more as a nostalgic reminder of the past than as a competitive business. The story of Blockbuster is filled with lessons. Success can create blind spots. Short-term profits, like late fees, can damage long-term relationships. Ignoring small competitors can be dangerous, and refusing to adapt can destroy even the biggest empires. In business, the question is not how big you are today, but how fast you can change when the world shifts around you. Blockbuster didn't lose because of technology. They lost because they underestimated the future. And Netflix, once a struggling startup, became one of the most powerful forces in entertainment. This is the cost of ignoring change. You've been watching Profit Archives. If you enjoyed this story, consider subscribing for more business stories decoded.